had this big long speech that I was stressing out and writing, and I decided I'm not going to follow this at all, actually. It's really weird. I really find that me standing here at this moment is improbable, to say the least. We had a hard time when we were kids, and a lot of you know me personally, and you've heard me talk about politics, but it's one thing when you're talking from behind the scenes and saying this is what we should do, to actually make the decision that this is what we're going to go do. And for me to have taken this step, I just want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart for being here. Tell you a little bit about my story. My brother and my sister are here, and thank you guys so much for coming. Brian did allude to it as a little bit, but we didn't have the easiest life growing up when we were kids. My dad, not to bless his soul, he left us pretty early, and my mom is really what's made us who we are today. We spent some time, as you alluded to, as homeless. And by talking homeless, I'm saying that we had an RV that we were literally outside the railroad tracks in Sumner, and a tent was my bedroom. And I remember talking to our mom and asking, because our bus stop was right in front of where we were at, and I remember talking to my mom, wanting to walk up the street to a different bus stop because I didn't want to be seen as that. It was already hard enough being in that circumstance, and it really made a huge impact on me. And it's really made something that I really want to have a positive impact on. You know, there's this big brush that gets painted with people that are homeless. That everyone there wants to be there, is an opiate addict, and doesn't want a job, and just wants to take free handouts. And I can tell you that that's not true. I remember that we received assistance from our local church. I remember there was so much stuff that we used to get by, these social safety nets. And for people to say that those are wasted efforts and wasted resources, they are flat wrong. My sister, Nikki here, she is a nurse at Swedish Hospital. She also was a nurse helping do rape kits for individuals that were traumatized. My brother, Kevin, he's a journeyman in a union. My youngest sister, she's a staff sergeant in the Marine Corps. She's currently stationed in Hawaii, and she's studying to become a nurse to come out as an officer in the Navy. To say that everyone who is homeless is just going to waste those resources and not use them for the betterment of society is wrong. And I can tell you from experience, that's not a true narrative. My mom was just trying to provide for us. She dealt with abuse. My dad was an addict. There was a lot of tough things that we had to go through when we were kids. But if people didn't help us through those things, we wouldn't be here today. I actually got asked to serve on the State Advisory Council of Homelessness, whether I would consider it, a few years back. And it was all because of a chance flight. I was going down for a trade delegation, as Brian was saying, to South Korea and to Japan with the Department of Agriculture, representing this just small hippie popcorn company. And I just happened to be sitting next to Governor Inslee on the flight down there. And I can tell you before that time, I didn't have a very high view of politicians. Excuse me, Brian, I know that's been your world. But I really didn't. And I really had felt that it was all about self-service. It was about empowering yourself, this chasing this egotistical vision of power or this enrichment of yourself. And it wasn't until I saw the governor coloring in a coloring book, and he looks over me and smiles, and he said, he said, and I'm summarizing this, I bet you never thought you would see a governor coloring. And I was like, no, I didn't. And he had told me a story about how he and Trudy, how he would draw coloring books for his kids because they didn't have money through. This humanized him so much to me. This made me realize that this person who all I knew was he was the governor. This person had a family. It hasn't been a non-earned respect that I have for him personally. It's been through the decisions that he's made that made me realize that we do have good politicians out there. Not enough of them, but we do. And if you aren't willing to go and serve, if you're not willing to dedicate your time, your money, or your effort, you can't complain about what is happening in your community. So for me, that's why I'm here. And if you could ask me, why am I asking for your vote? Why am I running? I can tell you, number one is homelessness. We have 12,000 people in the city of Seattle and surrounding King County that are homeless at this moment. That is not acceptable at all. We've gone with a city that went from $2.8 billion in 2010 to $5.8 billion budget now. And the problem's only gotten worse. I ask you, every voter, have your services, do you feel like that they have doubled in 9 years? There are a lot of resources that are being spent incorrectly. We need to address the root causes of homelessness. We know really the drivers of them. Don't be fooled that they're all opiate addicts. If you actually go take a list of the statistics, that is definitely not true. For every $100 increase in your rent that all of you see in your housing costs, that's a 6% increase of homelessness in metropolitan areas. Housing is very expensive. People in the community that are on the fringe are being priced out. It's that one flat tire that drives them out. It's that one breakdown in their family that makes it them not be able to afford their housing. We need to do better in this city. We have a mental health problem that is not being addressed. We have mothers that are escaping domestic violence, like my mom was. We have people being aged out of a foster care system with no place to go. We have youth that are homeless because they're LGBTQ. They're 120% more likely to be homeless just because they're not seen as normal in their own families. Well, I can tell you, we accept them in this community. It is not okay. We need to be doing better when it comes to homelessness. And unfortunately, we have a council that has fallen into the trap that if we could just take more resources, we don't even have to decide where they're going to go effectively, but take more resources and throw it at the symptoms that it's going to solve the problem, and it's not. Homelessness is complex. It is a conversation that we need to have on a deeper level basis. Anyone that comes out and campaigns and says, this is the only solution that's going to solve homelessness, they're just trying to get your vote. This is something that we need to work with every individual that is homeless. We need a system that takes in what their needs really are, because there are a lot of drivers. There's homeless vets. And this is just homelessness. This isn't talking about the city's policy on small business, vilifying every single business. You know, I'm going to be honest with all of you right now. We've had some conversations on my team about whether I can really talk about small business because the appetite of being seen as possibly a Republican, just because I believe that small businesses are the cornerstones of our community. We need to make it easier to be successful as a small business here. We need to be the incubator of the best companies of tomorrow. It is not okay for the city to vilify every business and act like every problem in this city is because of business. It's their fault. They talk about big business. Well, I can tell you, take a look at the Costcos of the world. Responsible businesses that are believe in conscious capitalism, treat their employees well. You could run big business with a conscience. We said we're $200 million short on homeless services. Microsoft just offered the other day $500 million to this region. We need to work with our business communities. They have a vested interest in solving these problems as well. Now I can tell you, there's a lot of problems here that are in the city, and I believe all of us see them. We need to understand that that echo chamber that resides within City Hall's walls is not okay. You cannot not listen to your community just because there's dissent. You cannot run a company successfully that way. You definitely cannot run a city successfully that way. We need more transparency, and we need accountability for the decisions that we make. We need accountability of the way we spend our money. We need accountability on the things that we vote for. We need to not just change our mind on our votes just because secret polling comes back and says it's unpopular and I may lose my job. It is not okay to not listen to the community. We can talk a long time, and as Dave was joking, he was afraid of me throwing my speech down because I could be up here for hours talking about this and nerding out about policy. And I really can, if you guys want me to, but we still have pizza, we still have speakers, and so I'm not gonna do that. The last thing I'm gonna tell you is why I love this community. And it's actually because of some of the people that are sitting in here right now. I first started coming out here when I was 16 years old, hanging out with people within this community because they're some of the best people I know. I'm still friends with them. They were accepting of things that were bigger than the small suburban town that I grew up in. They made me realize that there is more in acceptance of the differences of every individual to offer to our community than everyone being the same. We need acceptance. We need diversification. We need to be the community that we are today. We need not to price out people that are on the fringes of financial wellness just because they may not have enough money for their housing. We need solutions to keep them here. So it really was the people who I fell in love with, and they're here today. I'm going to tell you, my friends are some of the best people that I know, and I will go to the ends of the earth with them. I fell in love with them. I fell in love with the beauty of the West Seattle people before I even knew about how beautiful Alki Beach was, or Lincoln Park, or the awesome sunsets that you get to see that go over Lake Island just on the few clear days we have. It's the people that here are so beautiful. That's why I want to serve. And that's what a politician should do. They need to serve. They need to be there for the people. I really don't believe the founding fathers ever meant for the people in politics to be there to enrich themselves or to gain power. This is a civic duty. This is our duty to serve our community the best way we can. It was a hard decision, and I can tell you that I absolutely love my wife. I do, because of the sacrifices that even just this run are going to take. But we need this. We need good people in City Hall, or we're going to be left with the echo chamber. We're going to be left with people that really don't come with new solutions to the problem. We need new blood. And so that's what I'm asking for today. I'm asking for your votes. I'm asking for your support. I want to thank all of you so much for being here. I sincerely see so many faces that I love here. It almost was destiny for me to be asking for your vote. My wife, Jessie, she's a third generation West Seattleite. Her family accepted me for who I was, from this punk kid from a small town to, being the hippie popcorn company owner I am today, to being able to serve on the State Advisory Council of Homelessness to the governor, to really try my best to make this community better. So I am going to wrap this up. I'm not going to keep it super long, Dave, I promise you. Thank you so much for being with me. Let's tell this story. This run is not about me. This run is about all of us coming together and saying we need to make our community better. Thank you.